something.
Okay, it is past 4:15, it's actually 4:18. I'm gonna call the meeting to order. Will you please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Join us momentarily. First order of business, we held a workshop upstairs and then went into non-public on a tax matter under 91A32C with our tax collector. I make a motion we seal those minutes.
Second it?
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call, Sam Martin?
Here.
Bob Freeman?
Here.
And Rick Morgan is here. Public input. Anybody have anything in public input before we start the red poll? I lost my pen. Okay. Whew. We have, first thing is the copy of the minutes of the Selectmen's Department Head meeting, which occurred on Monday, July 24th. I make a motion we accept it as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have the minutes of the Selectmen's meeting, which occurred on Monday, July 24th. I make a motion we accept them as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have the check voucher totals. Payroll for week ending 7/29 was $34,568.01. Payroll taxes in the amount of $10,899.50. We have accounts payable for week ending 7/22 of $96,647.41. For a total of $142,114.92. There were also accounts payable for week ending 7/22 for the Water and Sewer Department in the amount of $12,457.49. I make a motion we sign.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a notice of intent to cut wood. This is on map 18, lot 11. 46-acre parcel, 30 acres to be cut. Lee Steege is the owner. Jesse, I can't read,
Yep.
DUP, I think, is the first three, and I'm not sure. Is the logger. Taxes have been paid. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a notice of intent to cut wood. This is on map 124, lot 25. It's an 8-acre cut. Barbara Beezer, Fritz Heckle are the owners. John Wadsworth is the logger. Taxes have been paid. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There's two there.
Second is map 251, lot 3 and 4. It's a 3-acre parcel. Fritz von Maxey is the owner. John Wadsworth is the logger. Taxes have been paid. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We have a request for contract for use of facilities. This is for the gazebo in the park on Main Street for a wedding. We paid a $50 deposit. I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We have a representation letter, which is somewhat of a formality that we send back to our auditor. Representing all of the facts as we agree that they are with the auditor on our recent, or I say our 2016 audit. You don't have a chance to look at this?
I did.
Yes.
Make a motion we sign.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
There's only place for one signature on it. We have a letter from Northern Human Services. It's going to be the start of some of our budget stuff, so Ms. Ellen, you'll have to hold on to this and add it up, but this is from Northern Human Services. Dear Select Board, first I want to thank you for your long history of support. As mental health issues become even more frequent and prominent in our communities, the support of our towns is increasingly important. This year, in spite of rising costs, we are requesting level funding in the amount of $4,425. I believe our request is very modest in view of the full cost of services. Calendar year 2016, 153 uninsured or underinsured people from the town of Ossipee were seen by the Mental Health Center for a total of 609.75 hours. Cost for those services was $92,682. So this is a request for the 2018 appropriations. We'll have to start to compile this. You have any idea what this notice of hearing is regarding?
44 Danville Road, that's one of the hazardous and dilapidated structures.
Okay.
So unless it's brought into compliance by then, court can take place.
Excuse me?
Unless unless the building's brought into compliance, which they'd have to raise certain portions of it, it will go to court hearing.
Okay. This is on the dilapidated buildings, which is an issue which has been on our continuing agenda for some time. This is on the Danville Road property, which is, quite frankly, falling down part of it into the lake. There is a notice of hearing here, where there is a hearing preliminarily scheduled for November 3rd in the New Hampshire Circuit Court regarding the town of Ossipee and our attempts to have that building either raised or repaired. We received a copy, this is a copy of a check that we received in the amount of $153,081.10. This is a lump sum payment that the town of Ossipee, and I guess every town in the state is receiving a certain amount. I don't know how they necessarily calculated it, but it is on surplus money that was held by the Department of Transportation. It's from unexpended funds that the New Hampshire DOT distributed to all the different towns in different amounts. And it's to be used for infrastructure projects. And we'll be talking about that a little bit coming up, but we did receive that check. I do have in here a payroll request reimbursement. This is from the Water Department for the amount of $3,279.52. I make a motion to sign.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And we still have in here these two abatement requests. First one is on this Michael Houle 21 Doors Corner Road regarding the winter bleed. Is that bleed to help the system, or is that to help him from preventing?
The system itself, because if that is up there, it's gonna follow right back down. It's for the system. This is an ongoing one that's been going on for a long time. Within the next year or so, hopefully I can get it fixed.
So you have instructed him to bleed if you keep the
They've
water?
been doing it
Okay.
for years.
But was it freezing before then, or was there a freezing problem there? Is that why that?
That originally before me, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Why do we let them just run the water? I mean, they're not charging for it.
No, because otherwise it's gonna freeze the system.
Yeah, okay.
That's why, if it's simply to
Our system.
prevent, yes, our
Freeze
system.
to them.
If it were simply to prevent his own lines from freezing, then I'd say it's his bill.
Right,
But if it's to prevent the system from freezing, that's a different story.
right, exactly, and that's what this is. I had another one on Mountain Road, which I put my own bleed in, so it didn't run through someone else's, yeah. So, but this one, we gotta replace that line within the next few years, we should. So we'll fix that problem.
With that explanation, I make a motion that we approve the abatement of $216.02.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We already signed it, I'm just changing it to approved with the date of 7/30. And the second one, though, is on this, the new Dollar General and the fact that they have 2 meters.
Right. They have 2 meters, they requested a second meter for the irrigation. Because I think they thought that we would give them an abatement on it, but we don't. We only abate if it runs through our sewer system. And what happened is when I read the meters, I didn't tell the girls in time to only bill for one of the meters, because they basically kind of got double billed. Because everything has to run through 1 meter. Okay, and that's basically the bill that they should be getting. This other one that runs through the irrigation, it's just telling you how much went to the irrigation. So you can't charge it for the water usage on that second one.
Because it's already been charged.
But they are charged the base rate on the
They gotta be charged a base rate because they have another meter there, yes. So they're gonna get 2 base rates, but they can only get 1,
water consumption device.
exactly.
This 3534, is that the second meter, or is that the double up on the water consumption?
That was the double up, that's come off on that second meter, which they already got billed for. Right,
With that explanation, then I make a
Right.
motion that we approve abating $35.34 on that water bill.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have a letter which was sent here that we need to also make sure it gets to the cemetery trustees. It was to the cemetery trustees. Many thanks to your crew for taking such prompt action on my problem at the Chickville Cemetery. I certainly do appreciate it. I think you folks do a super job of taking care of the cemetery. I've never seen it look so good. My family has a long history down there. My great many times uncle was Elder Chick, for whom Chickville was named. I know where at least 6 generations of my family are buried down there. And again, thank you so much for the help. That's from Mr. Fenton Hodge. And we make sure that the cemetery trustees get a copy of that. We have this is from Brad Harriman to the board, received 3 quotes for the video inspection of 10,000 linear feet of our sewer lines. This represents about half of our collection system in Center Ossipee. The following are the results. Eastern Pipe Services LLC bid $1,750 a day plus 200 mobilization one time. Underground Testing and Services bid $1,500 a day. And E.J. Prescott bid $1.30 a linear foot, which would result in a $13,000 overall cost. From previous experience with Eastern Pipe Service last year, we anticipate that this section of the system can be done in about 3 days. That being said, E.J. Prescott's pricing is coming in at more than double that of the other 2. There is a big difference between Eastern Pipe Services quote and Underground Testing and Services quote. That being said, Eastern Pipe Service will perform any repairs on the pipes while they're inside the line with their equipment, whereas Underground Testing and Services does not perform the repairs. Another outside company would have to come and perform the necessary repairs at an additional cost. It is my recommendation in Bose to award the video inspection of 10,000 linear feet or up to 3 days to Eastern Pipe Services in the amount of $5,450. couple of questions. One, while they're in there, when you say they're able to do repairs, what kind of repairs are they able to do while they're inside?
Sleeve, they can sleeve inside the pipe.
Okay.
Rather than having to dig it up, they can go inside and they can put a sleeve inside. They've showed me the whole thing. It's pretty impressive what they can do now.
Okay. And I presume if they find a problem and then they have to install the sleeve or whatever it is, there's an additional cost to that?
Yeah, it will be an additional cost, yeah.
Do you have any way of knowing, you don't have any way of knowing in advance until they get in there what they might find?
Right. I had some done last year when we didn't find any problems. And they give us a disc so we can see everything at the end. It's pretty impressive. I know we have leaks. I know we do. So.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
No.
So long story short, it's about $1,000 more, not quite $1,000 more to have Eastern Pipe Services do it. But they can complete repairs while they're doing it that the other company cannot do. With that explanation, it seems to me to make some sense to pay a little bit more upfront for the company that can repair it while they're in.
Can you use that your money?
No. Anything else? Any questions? With that, I'm gonna make a motion that we proceed with Eastern Pipe Services in the amount of $5,450. All in favor?
Aye.
Other issue is to go to the Board of Selectmen from Brad Harriman, and this is in regards to that $153,000 check that we received from DOT. As you are aware, the town of Ossipee received a check from New Hampshire DOT in the amount of $153,081.10, which was from unexpended funds that New Hampshire DOT distributed to the New Hampshire towns as their highway block grant payments intended for roadway and or bridge projects in those towns. So that I'm clear, Brad, that is in addition to the normal highway block grant that we get.
That's right.
Okay. I have a number of roads that have been delayed by taking cuts in the road repair warrant article over the past 2 years, totaling $150,000. They include Dawes Corner Road, Walker Hill Road, Blake Hill Road, Newman Drew Road, and Elm Street. These funds would allow us to catch 2 of these roads and perform a fiber mat seal, which would extend the life of the roads by at least 7 to 8 years. By catching them now, we would avoid having to perform a shim and overlay on these roads within 2 years and would cost up to 2 times more to do. There are 2 advantages to using the fiber mat chip seal approach. The first is that using fiberglass matting will effectively eliminate the reflective cracking, which is the existing cracks coming up through the new pavement in the same spots. The second advantage is that all States Asphalt wants to have a town in our region to use as an educational tool for other towns and is offered to perform this work at a substantially lower rate than normal. It would normally be $3.50 a square yard, lowered to $3.05 a square yard. This results in a savings of $23,225. We did a survey of these roads earlier this year to see where we were in their life expectancy. Of the roads mentioned, I'd recommend that we choose Elm Street and Dawes Corner Road to apply this fiber mat chip seal to. To apply to these 2 roads will cost approximately $157,500. If we bump these roads off for 2 to 3 more years, a shim and overlay would cost about $321,000. Brad, talk to us about the fiber mat chip seal.
Is that like 25? Pardon?
No.
Is that like Route 25?
No, that was a rubber, they used rubber with their chip seal on that. The fiber mat chip seal is kind of it's been around a little while, but it's starting to gain popularity. We used it in the concrete. We did the floors in our new garage addition, which is it's kind of little pieces of fiberglass matting, 2 inches long or so, to get mixed in with the oil. It gets laid down and mixed in with the oil stuff like that, so it creates a cross section, crosses over each other. Reinforcement mat is what it ends up creating in the oil that gets laid on as a sealer there. So So what that effectively does is similar to putting in, like, we did some road repairs the last few years, we put non-woven fabric underneath the gravel and stuff. It kind of works the same way as that. It stabilizes everything underneath it there and keeps it from cracks from coming up through into the surface. So what this would do by laying it on these two roads, the advantage too is you want to put it on a road, it still has its shape to it. You don't want to put something that's kind of rutted out yet or anything. And these two roads are still in really good shape that way. They were shim and overlaid about 8 or 9 years ago, I'd say, is when we did those. They did Elm Street and Doors Corner Road. So this would really seal up all those cracks that are on it and give us a surface that'll last for at least another 7 to 8 years. And then even after that, we'd get away with doing probably a sand seal on that, which would last up to 5 or 6 years at a time. So you'd be able to keep these roads in a lot better condition for a longer period of time than letting them deteriorate to the point where you have to do shim and overlay. And as you see, they're almost double the cost. To put a 3/4 inch shim and 1 1/4 inch overlay on it is almost 2 inches of pavement. Is fairly expensive. So.
And I think I already know the answer to this question, and I know they asked it for those who may be watching it on the video later. The idea behind trying to get those, especially those cracks sealed up, is that once water does get into those cracks and then freezes, that's how you end up with potholes and the road finally goes by the wayside.
Yeah, you get a much larger frost heaves and stuff because the water, like I said, will collect, especially in the wintertime. If we get a winter rain, collecting the cracks underneath the pavement, freezes, and as we all know, it swells. We'll lift the pavement and crack it up even more, so it deteriorates a lot faster once it starts. So
The longer, what I'm saying is that by treating the cracks, whether it is even in a crack sealer or with this type of thing, simply extends the life of that pavement, correct?
very
So
much,
it's just a liquid that they dump on it? Then they
It
dump
comes
sand on
out in
it?
spray. The truck will spray it out. We'll spray by similar to what our calcium, it'll look like our calcium truck with that bar and the nozzles on the bottom of it. They'll spray the liquid down with the fiber mat, mix into it, then they put a stone chip seal on top of that. They roll that into the top so your surface will look like a paved surface. Be a little bit rougher than just the pavement, just a little bit, but not much.
I mean, thickness to it, right?
Oh yeah, no, it'll build up. It'll probably build up, I'd say, I'm guessing it's gonna be 1/2, 3/4 of an inch thick, all said and done. Maybe pushing an inch in thickness altogether.
You gonna raise the manholes?
Around Kenny on Doors Corner Road, or there's no manhole issues on Doors Corner Road or Elm
We
Street.
have 3, I think, up on the far end, up near Moltenville Road. What we do is they put a protective cover over there, over our manhole cover, so they don't fill it all in with tar and stuff. And then, so we'd end up with a little bit, bevel the lip down, there'd be a little bit of a depression there and stuff. It's not enough to really warrant raising the manhole covers up for this one, like we did when we did the paving and stuff, so.
Any questions? You raise your eyebrows, what do you get for questions?
Are there any roads that we can go look at to see what it looks like? I mean, I've seen stuff done back when I was a little boy, and
Well, the technology's changed a lot from way back then, Bob, so.
you guys are so far behind, it's not funny. But I'm just saying, I'd like to see something that finished product that I can go look at.
I can ask them to find out where there is some. They've done some in the northeast up here. They haven't done probably some in New Hampshire, but not a lot. These guys cover all of the kind of New York, Pennsylvania area, north and east and stuff. Pretty much these guys have the whole territory.
These big plows running on
Oh,
it.
they'll stay right down and they'll lift it off.
And I think, I'll be honest with you, I'm in favor of this in part because if they especially want to use these as examples, if they want to use these roads as examples that they can show to other towns, guess what? They're going to be very, very, very conscious to make sure that this is a good and successful job. Because that's what they're going to use to sell to other communities to get them to do the same thing.
I guess the other question I have is, do we have the right to use that money for that?
We do. That's the only we
Can
can
we
use.
use it this year? Or do we
Yes.
have to bring it before the people?
I just wanted to add, it's my understanding that you cannot use it for projects that have not been budgeted for. Just want to make sure that's out there.
Correct. Yep, yep. So it's not, it wasn't designed as a cash cow to offset things we were already doing. These are two roads in particular that have been on our list to do, but we have not raised any funds for. And by doing them now, I think we'll not only save those roads, but will save us from spending money on those two roads next year or the year after, which we can then turn around, not that we're gonna save anything, we're gonna turn around and spend that money on another road that needs attention, but.
Trying to get us back on track, on keeping some of our roads up, to not lose ground on any of the roads that we put some money into in the past here and stuff. We're gonna be able to keep them in a real good condition and really extend the life of them, for the people to drive on,
And we did, over the last 2 years, we did reduce the amount of money which we were setting aside for road maintenance.
Yes, I know that.
Now, we did that to help offset what we were spending on improving the highway garage. And it was still, I think, a prudent decision. It's one that we made, that we were going to cut back on that to get the highway garage done without having an adverse impact on the tax rate. So I still think it was a valid decision, but we did, take some money out of that account 2 years in a row. So when Brad says this would basically catch us back up, it really is almost virtually replacing what we took out over the last couple of years.
This would be all of Chickville Road and all the way,
Nothing on Chickville. This is-
I mean,
Doors Corner.
Doors Corner Road, I'm sorry, Doors Corner.
The whole,
And-
the whole thing.
And all the way from 16 to Effingham line?
Effingham Town line, yeah.
Any other questions?
Sounds good.
Seems valid to me. I make a motion that we allow Brad to proceed with that fiber mat chip seal on both Elm Street and Doors Corner Road. And proceed.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Brad. One other quick question, will we be able to address, one of the things that is still on our radar that concerns me is when it was brought to our attention by the senior center that they have some pretty significant pavement issues over there. You drive through there every day, as do I. There are a significant number of elderly people that are walking from one parking area to the other and then going in for the congregate meals and stuff. Is there going to be the ability to address that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I would address that with our budget that we have in place now, with our paving section of it and stuff there. Since that was brought to our attention too, Billy did go over there with some coal patch and fixed up some of the, the potholes that were there where it was broken up, so it's a little bit better than it was, but
Yep.
still needs to be torn out and repaved, so, yeah. We'll get quotes going on that and get those presented to you guys.
Okay. So that is one that I don't want, I don't want to see anybody with a broken hip or anything because we haven't taken care of that parking lot.
Yeah.
Okay. Water and sewer regulations, have those been revised yet?
They're about halfway done.
Okay. Hazardous and dilapidated buildings, I gave the update on that in the red folder. The highway block grant fund allocation we just dealt with. Any other old business? Done?
Actually, I just spoke with Steve real quick. The Stoneview Road property that the neighbor was complaining on, everything is hooked up. The electrician's on site now, so everything should be up and functional by tomorrow.
Our deadline is today, so I would say that that will be fine. Good. I don't really want to wait another week, and I'm fairly comfortable in at least saying at this juncture, in regards to the Freedom versus Ossipee lawsuit, that we had, as I mentioned, I think last week, a very productive meeting face-to-face between the Ossipee Board of Selectmen and the Freedom Board of Selectmen. The result of that meeting is that Freedom has filed what's called a voluntary non-suit with prejudice, which means that they are dropping all claims against the town of Ossipee, and the with prejudice part means they can't bring it back. In addition to that, we have agreed to issue a joint statement. Ossipee has prepared its draft of that and it has been forwarded to Freedom. They'll be dealing with it tonight, and I hope to be able to have that for next Monday. Long story short, this lawsuit should not have happened. It did. We dealt with it, and we want to move on. We have also had a telephone conference, which was actually, what day was that, Ellen? Last Monday. We had a telephone conference between this board and the owners of Northgate. Remind me what state they're in? Colorado? Michigan? Out west. We had a very productive and very professional, cordial conversation with them, in working with them to bring the old portion of Westwood Shores Campground into compliance with all of the FEMA rules and Ossipee zoning rules. So we're working with them. They appear very willing to work with us, and we're hoping that we go forward and put all of this together. New business. Anybody? Public input. Sure.
I had someone approach me today about Duncan Lake.
Yeah.
There's no porta potty in down there anymore? There used to be, I remember. There's no porta potty, there's nothing down there?
We're not sure why it's not there.
Well, yeah, I'm just asking, yeah.
It was actually delivered, but the company delivered it to the wrong place.
Okay.
When we contacted them to fix it,
Yeah,
evidently there was some confusion because they simply went and took it away.
okay.
So,
Yeah,
we're working on it.
all right.
But
And he said there was no trash cans either?
there's not
I remember
supposed
there
to
was
be
a
trash.
problem with that, yeah.
There's the beaches are supposed to be a carry-in,
Yeah,
carry-out.
Exactly, I
Take
agree.
with you, empty what you were able to lug in full. Does not seem to be
Right.
a bad policy. It has been a problem down there. We've had our maintenance guy down there a couple of days a week picking up trash,
Yeah.
and it's sad, but it is what it is. But the porta potty we were aware of, we're working on it, but there was some confusion. They dropped it in the wrong place, and
Okay. All right.
so hopefully it'll be back soon. Just that.
The other thing too is just to announce again that this Saturday is our household hazardous waste collection. Be right here at the Highway Garage Town Hall parking lot, starting at 8:30 Saturday morning till noontime. We'll have it all staffed, and we've got all our containers have been delivered already for bulbs and all that kind of stuff, so we're ready to go.
It's a great, great, great opportunity for the residents to get rid of that stuff that everybody has, whether it's under your sink, in your shed, stuffed out in the garage, whether it's old solvents, pesticides, paint of certain, oil-based paint, fuel, oil. I mean, anything that would be remotely considered. I mean, mercury bulbs, right? All of the CFL.
Mercury switches, even liquid mercury with things, so.
Anything that would be normally considered as not to be fit to be put in the ground, and I think most people could, from common sense, know what that is. This is a great opportunity at no charge to you to have that stuff disposed of properly. And we hope that people will take advantage of it. The other thing, by way of announcement, we need to remember that on the 14th of August, at 6 o'clock here, the New Hampshire DOT will be doing a presentation regarding the proposed improvements to 28 and 171. Most will remember that this has been on our continuing agenda now for, I don't know, a long time. We've been working diligently trying to get the state to make improvements to cut down on the number of serious injuries and fatalities in that intersection. We have finally got to the point where I think they've got a plan in place that is actually going to work, and that is the installation of a roundabout. anybody that's interested should come and hear their proposal, look at the proposal, and that's gonna occur on the 14th here at 6 o'clock. Anything else under public input? Ed?
It's my understanding that the funds that you're going to receive from DOT requires a public hearing because it's unanticipated funds. Are you going to have a hearing to accept the check?
That's a good question. Actually, that's a good observation. We are empowered by town meeting to accept gifts on behalf of the town. However, if it's in excess of, I believe, $10,000, then we have to have a public hearing. Not knowing that there's any exception for this, I would say we just go ahead and set a public hearing. What are the posting requirements? You have any idea? 14 days. So why don't we post from today for, will the 14th make it? We have to do it on the 21st. And then we will advertise a public hearing, get that posted for the acceptance of the funds from the state.
It would just be a good idea to educate the public
Oh, I agree.
on Senate Bill 38, how it came to be,
Yep.
and how much money is available, where it came from, etc.
Sure. Are you gonna be here for that hearing?
The DOT hearing
No,
on
for our-
171.
No, for the public hearing on the funds.
Well, I'm certain
You're
you'll
planning
do
on
it
being here?
on a Monday.
Yep.
Okay,
So you will
Yes.
hopefully help explain with it.
absolutely.
Super.
Number 2, campground and camper issue with taxes. You had mentioned in the past as a board that you may go out to the campground owners to try to work through some of this issue because I noticed it's still happening. So I was
It is
wondering-
finally very much reduced, finally. We've got through just about the last, we've got through just about the last of them. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ellen. I think we're finally at the end. And what we're going to be working on is drafting a letter, because the campground, there is an education level there too. The campground owners, we're going to be working on a letter out to them, explaining to them their obligations under that statute, and hopefully it's going to reduce it. I don't think it's going to eliminate the problem, because even the campground owner is at a bit of a disadvantage, because now he's out there trying to determine whether or not it's registered or not registered by a certain date, and then if the folks go and register it with, which is what resulted in many of the abatements, it was cheaper for them to go and register the camper on the 15th of April and paid $50 to register the camper, which by doing that on the 16th of April made it exempt from $150 in taxes. You see, I'm hoping that at some point we'll look at modifying the legislation to change the dates. Because literally that can be the situation where is it's not in compliance one day and the very next day it is.
And what date would you want the legislation?
I'm not prepared to make that yet, but I think it's something that's one area where the law could be tweaked, which might help that.
Well, I'll talk to you after the meeting, and then just like go to the other meetings too, and
Yep.
perhaps we can all get on the same page.
Yep. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? How's things at the library? Any good? Generator, transfer station, all good? Good. Anything else?
I don't know.
Connie? Planning board meeting tomorrow night? Anything great on the agenda?
Just hog site plan.
That's a proposal to do concerts again on
West.
3 Bridge. You obviously know what our position is. And it is, to my knowledge, it has not changed. We do have a new member since the last time, but with all of the neighbors being opposed down there and it being a village district, I don't think what they're proposing is a permitted use. And I'm not certainly looking to tell the planning board what to do, but I'm sure you'll take those comments into consideration.
I vote.
If there's nothing else,
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it for change. How's that? All in
Hey,
favor?
Whoa, I second things.
No, she made the
Second.
motion. All in favor?
This is a second one.
Have a good night.
Put your face, Billings.